You feel like you have no motivation. You're stuck in chronic stress or chronic anxiety or chronic fatigue. You go through the day feeling like you haven't accomplished anything. You feel like you're on autopilot and have no real purpose in this world. You have nothing to look forward to. You're in the wrong relationship. You're perpetuating bad habits. You hate your job and you literally feel like you're stuck in a bog. In this episode, I'm going to show you that you aren't broken, that it isn't hopeless, and I'm going to share with you ways to reverse this rut that you think you're stuck in. It's all energetics. Ruts can have many different manifestations, but they have one thing in common. It feels like they're chronic. What this means is that whatever you feel you're stuck in is perpetuated with no recovery period, no coming up for air, so to speak, and an opportunity to head in a new direction potentially. Whatever your chronic state is, it's wearing you out little by little. The same way you would be walking over a rug every day, for example, and gradually seeing it lose the intensity of its colors and the tightness of its weave. The most dangerous aspect of a rut is this. To our brains, a world of muted colors, numbed emotions, and the constant whirr of low-level stress becomes normal. To the point that it seems like no big deal. At least when our emotions are heightened, when we feel explosive anger or extreme pain, we're pushed to do something about it. When, on the other hand, the discomfort is mild and constant, it becomes your default state and you perceive it as natural. There's an old science experiment where you put a frog in a pan of boiling water. The frog will immediately jump out, right? However, if you put the frog in and start boiling the water gradually, then the frog will literally sit there and cook without registering what's happening. That is the equivalent of a rut. So why do you get stuck in a rut though? Why do you stay stuck in a bad job, a bad marriage, a toxic relationship or a friendship, a cycle of debt? When we look at the energetics of these situations, there are two reasons. Number one, at a young age, you were imprinted with a program of not feeling worthy enough. The issue here, in other words, is low self-worth that has been playing back from your subconscious mind like a tape recorder. And number two, you have abandoned your authentic self, your higher purpose, your core needs and wants that would have translated into your own unique life path and are currently settling far beneath your worth. Today, however, I want you to know this. This rut you are in is trying to show you something. It is here to teach you a life lesson and show you that you're not on your authentic path. You're not honoring your authentic self. You're actually disrespecting your authentic self. By showing you how you don't want to be living your life, the universe is trying to get you back on the path that is in alignment with your soul's purpose. Get the message or not, that's your choice. So what do you have to do to get out of the rut? It's actually very simple. So energetically speaking, you first need to get in your full worth, right? By unblocking self-worth limitations from your subconscious mind. And second, you need to find and follow your soul's purpose, your passion, your authentic path that you yourself decided before you came into this life. To unblock your self-worth, there are various modalities that you can use. We have a meditation on this channel titled Meditation for Self-Worth. We're going to link it in the description box. Do this for 30 days and see what happens. What do you have to lose? I consider low self-worth as the #1 block to any type of manifestation. So honestly, if you don't start working on that, then seriously, what are you doing? As your internal environment begins to change, because you will be shedding the layers of how you were keeping yourself small because you were not in your full magnetic worthiness, you will see how shifts will start occurring in your outside environment, sometimes without even lifting a finger. I also recommend doing some journaling around this, asking the following question: where in my life do I settle for less than I deserve? Write out a list, and next to each item, if you get a few, for example, write what would be in your full worth as compared to what you're settling for. The answers will start to come to you. Shifts will begin happening by merely starting to perceive the vibration of your full worth. And then, little by little, you can start saying no to whatever is keeping you small. This is how portals will be created, so you can step out of your rut and into the thing that you truly deserve. By getting rid of what is keeping you small, by saying no to what doesn't serve you, you make space for what's in your full worth. Look at your relationships first. Are you allowing people to step all over you? Are you a doormat? Do you have trouble saying no? Do you make excuses for people? Are people treating you poorly? Ask all of those questions. Relationships are very important gauging equipment of our self-worth. Set boundaries and keep them. I'll give you some more examples. If you have victim mentality, that's low self-worth. If you're blaming others, that's low self-worth. If you're being secretive and don't want to put yourself out there, that's low self-worth. If you conceal your opinion from someone in order to be liked, or if you're afraid to voice your opinion, that's low self-worth. Now, when it comes to coming back to our authentic path and authentic self, what you need to do is to first decide on what your core needs are. Find 4 or 5 core needs that you cannot live without. These can be things like freedom, independent creativity, complete control over your day and your time, the ability to work for yourself, for example, and not be bossed around, and so on and so forth. In order to find these core needs, ask yourself what inspires you most. What do you spend your time thinking about throughout your day? If money were no issue, for example, what would you like to be doing with your day and time? In other words, what lights you up? What fills your cup? What are you passionate about? What conditions do you want to have in your life? Once you pinpoint those, write the small steps you can take to get closer to them, one by one. When you're doing this work, fear will naturally start to come up. Your subconscious mind that is resistant to any type of change will naturally start reacting. But this is where you need to show up for yourself. This is where you're choosing to either stay in a rut until you're saved, which you will not be, or until your life ends. Also, meditate deeply. Meditation is one of my favorite tools to get clarity and come back to my authentic path, or recalibrate according to my core wants, which we all forget when we're stuck going through the same routine day in and day out. Another thing you can do is try something new. Don't get bogged down in the same old day after day. Go to a different coffee shop, to a new restaurant, jog on a different path, listen to another type of music than you normally listen to, choose a different route when you go to work. New behaviors create new neural pathways, and that's what you want to be happening when you're trying to change something internal, right? That will seep through into your external life, because that is the law of this universe. What we have inside is reflected back to us from outside. Sometime before we incarnated on this planet, we spent time deciding what our life path would be, what our gifts in this life would look like, what lessons we would learn, with the sole purpose being expansion. When we expand, so does source consciousness, because we are a part of it. And then, as the universal law goes, we go through the veil of forgetfulness, right? And arrive in this world remembering nothing. Our mission is nothing more than remember those gifts, remember that path, live fully in our authenticity, as closely to our divine self as possible, in other words, and stay true to what our passion is, to what our unique contribution to this world is. Stay true to what makes your heart sing. This is basically what the path is. You didn't incarnate in this life for anything less. I'm sending you love. May you be happy, peaceful,